Let me tell you something that can flip your entire financial life on its head. Money is not paper, it's not coins, it's not numbers in a bank account. Money is energy. It flows, it moves, it responds to frequency. And the question you need to ask yourself right now is, what frequency are you on? Because if you're operating on the wrong one, you'll repel money faster than you can say, I'm broke. Let me tell you something that has the power to flip your entire understanding of wealth upside down. Money is not your job, your bank account, your education, or your effort. Money is energy. And until you understand that, until you embody that, you'll continue to struggle, to chase, to wonder why it always feels just out of reach. But once you shift that understanding deep into your consciousness, everything changes. Money is a frequency. It flows like electricity, like sound, like light. It doesn't respond to need. It doesn't respond to effort. It responds to alignment. And most people are completely out of sync with the energy of abundance. They're operating on the frequency of lack, fear, and limitation. That's why they work so hard and still feel broke. That's why they keep trying and nothing changes. Because no matter how hard you work, if you're tuned to scarcity, you'll only attract more scarcity. This isn't about wishful thinking or surface level positivity. This is about stepping into a whole new way of being. It's about knowing, not hoping, not begging, but knowing that you are the source of wealth, not the world, not your job, you. That shift right there, that's the breakthrough. Everything in your life is energy. Your thoughts, your words, your emotions, they're sending out signals every second of the day. And money is constantly responding to those signals. When you're radiating confidence, gratitude, and belief, you draw it toward you like a magnet. But when you're vibrating with doubt, fear, and frustration, you repel it every single time. This is why some people seem to attract money effortlessly. It's not luck, it's not a secret. They've simply learned to match the frequency of abundance. And you can too. But it takes a decision. It takes courage. It takes the kind of bold inner shift that says, I am no longer available for struggle. I am no longer entertaining scarcity. I am no longer thinking small. You weren't born to chase money. You were born to command it, to attract it, to multiply it, to use it as a tool for expansion. But that starts with energy. That starts with awareness. That starts with taking full responsibility for your internal world. Because your internal world shapes your external reality. So don't ask, where is the money? Ask instead, where is my energy? What am I radiating today? Am I aligned with abundance, or am I stuck in survival mode? Because when you elevate your energy, when you become the vibration of wealth, money cannot stay away from you. It's not personal, it's law. You don't need to work harder, you need to align better. You need to feel rich before you see the riches. You need to think like a wealthy person before you ever hold the wealth. Because energy responds to you. Not to your circumstances, not to your past, not to your doubts. It responds to your truth. And when you live that truth powerfully, consistently, unapologetically, the energy of money has no choice but to flow. Your entire financial world is a reflection of one thing, your frequency. You don't get what you want. You don't get what you work for. You get what you're in harmony with. That's the law. That's the truth. And until you learn to live in harmony with prosperity, abundance will always stay just out of reach. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you hustle, most people are stuck on the wrong frequency. They wake up worrying about bills. They go to bed thinking about debt. They speak the language of lack and then wonder why abundance never shows up. Let me tell you something. You cannot attract what you're out of alignment with. If you're thinking scarcity, if you're feeling fear, if you're constantly talking about what's missing, you are tuning your internal radio to the wrong station. And no matter how badly you want wealth, you're blocking it at the energetic level. Your thoughts are electric. Your feelings are magnetic. Together, they create the frequency you live on. You cannot fake this. You cannot hope your way to success by broadcasting fear. You've got to shift your entire inner state. You've got to step into the energy of abundance now, not when the money shows up, but before it arrives. That's how you create it. That's how you pull it toward you. We've been trained backwards. You were taught to believe money comes after results, but that's not how energy works. You've got to match the result before it can show up in your life. Want more income? Start thinking like someone who earns it. Want more freedom? Start feeling free now. Don't wait for the condition. Create the condition internally and the external will follow. It always does. You don't need more hours, you need more awareness. You don't need another strategy, you need to shift your state. Every day you have the power to raise your frequency, to align with the energy of wealth, joy, and success. But you've got to be intentional about it. You can't let the world set your vibration. You've got to take control of your emotional thermostat and dial it into prosperity on purpose. How do you do that? You discipline your thoughts. You upgrade your self-talk. You guard your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Every second of worry, every moment of doubt, every ounce of negativity is pulling you away from the life you say you want. But every time you choose faith, every time you step into gratitude, every time you act as if it's already done, you're moving closer, you're tuning in, you're becoming magnetic to what you desire. The truth is, you're already powerful beyond measure. But power without alignment is wasted. So stop operating on the frequency of fear. Step into the frequency of faith, of confidence, of abundance. Align your mind, your heart, your actions, and watch what happens. Because once you're in harmony with wealth, it has to come to you. It has no choice. That's not philosophy. That's physics. Everything you want begins with thought. Everything. The wealth, the freedom, the lifestyle, the opportunities, it all starts in your mind. That's where the real power is. And yet most people are trying to change their lives by manipulating the outside world. They work harder, chase more, stress more, but the results don't change. Why? Because the cause is internal. The root is thought. If you want to change your life, you've got to change the way you think. Your thoughts are the first step in creation. They're not passive and they're not random. They're creative forces. Every thought you hold consistently, every idea you entertain, every belief you reinforce is planting a seed in your subconscious mind. And that seed, given time and energy, will grow into results. It has to. That's not motivational fluff, that's law. Thoughts become things, and you are thinking into form every second of your life, whether you realize it or not. Now, here's the challenge. Most people think from their present reality. They look at what is and let that dictate what they think. They see lack and they think lack. They see struggle and they think struggle. And that's the trap. Because whatever you keep thinking, you keep creating, it becomes a loop, a cycle, a prison. But the moment you take control, the moment you start thinking beyond your circumstances, beyond your conditions, you break the loop. You start to create new outcomes. This is where courage comes in. It takes courage to think differently in the face of what you see. It takes strength to hold a vision of abundance when your bank account says otherwise. But that's what separates those who succeed from those who settle. The winners are not reacting to life. They're creating life. From thought, so how do you change your thoughts? You decide. You make a committed decision that you will no longer allow your mind to run on autopilot. You stop accepting every negative idea that pops into your head as truth. You train your mind like a world-class athlete trains their body. You focus it, you feed it, you discipline it. Because the quality of your thoughts will determine the quality of your life. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter what your past looks like. Your future is shaped by your dominant thoughts. So start thinking like a wealthy person. Start thinking like someone who succeeds, someone who wins, someone who expects the best. Not someday, right now. Because your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It will believe whatever you feed it. And once your mind believes it, your life will begin to reflect it. If you're waiting to feel better before you think better, you'll be stuck forever. But if you raise your thinking now, if you start programming prosperity into your mind every single day, your life must rise to meet it. That's how powerful you are. That's the force you're working with. Thought is the starting point, and the moment you master it, everything else will follow. The biggest obstacle standing between you and the life you want is not outside of you. It's not the economy, your background, your education, or your circumstances. It's inside you. It's the beliefs you hold about what's possible for you. And until you confront those limiting beliefs head on, you'll keep sabotaging your success before it even has a chance to show up. We're not born believing in limits. We're born with boundless potential. We're born believing anything is possible. But somewhere along the way, we were told to be realistic, to play it safe, to know our place. And those ideas, those seeds of doubt, got planted deep in the subconscious. They became programs, invisible scripts. And now, without even realizing it, you live out those beliefs day after day like they're absolute truth. But they're not. They're lies. And if you want to experience real freedom, financially, emotionally, spiritually, you've got to replace the lie with the truth. The truth is, there's nothing outside of you holding you back. You've just been hypnotized by repetition. You've accepted limitation as your identity. But what you accept, you reinforce. And what you reinforce, you become. So the first real breakthrough doesn't happen in your bank account. It happens in your mind. When you finally stand up and say, no more, I am not available for this version of me anymore. That's when transformation begins. Overcoming limiting beliefs is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment to think bigger, to see yourself differently, to refuse to let your past dictate your future. It takes effort. It takes resilience. And it takes courage, real courage, to stare down your fear and move anyway. To look those old programs in the eye and say, you no longer run the show. I do. When you hit resistance, that's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're growing. That's a sign that you're stepping beyond the identity that kept you small. And growth is never comfortable, but it's worth it. Every time you override a fear-based thought with a bold one, you reclaim your power. Every time you choose faith over doubt, you build new wiring. That's how you reprogram your mind. That's how you build a mindset that aligns with abundance instead of scarcity. If you want new results, you need a new self-image. And that self-image is built from belief. Not borrowed belief, not someone else's story, your belief. Belief in who you are. Belief in what you're capable of. Belief that you are worthy of living a wealthy, fulfilled, extraordinary life. That belief has to become stronger than your excuses, stronger than your fears, stronger than your old story. Because the truth is, the only limits that exist are the ones you accept. And the second you decide to reject them, to rise above them, you unleash the full power that's been locked inside you all along. That's when the world begins to shift. That's when you stop reacting and start creating. That's when you finally step into the life you were always meant to live. You don't need permission to succeed. You don't need approval. And you certainly don't need to wait until you feel ready. If you're waiting for confidence to show up before you take action, you'll wait for the rest of your life. The truth is, confidence doesn't come first. Decision does. The second you decide to move, to act, to leap, even when fear is screaming in your ear, that's when real power shows up. That's when transformation begins. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's moving in spite of it. And that's where most people miss the mark. They think they have to feel fearless before they take the leap. But that's backward. You don't feel ready before you start, and that makes you ready. You take the step into the unknown, and that step unlocks the energy, the clarity, the strength you've been looking for. But none of it comes until you move. This is the gap that separates the dreamers from the achievers. Dreamers sit around waiting for the perfect moment. Achievers create the moment. They act before the evidence shows up. They trust their inner knowing before the world claps for them. They build momentum out of sheer belief, even when everything around them says it won't work. And that belief, that decision to act before you feel like it, that's what creates quantum shifts. Let me be clear, nothing changes until you do. You can gather all the information, read every book, take every course, but until you step into the unknown, until you put yourself in motion, nothing happens. Because it's not information that creates results. It's aligned, bold, courageous action. The kind of action that stretches you, scares you, challenges the old identity and calls the new one forward. You weren't meant to tiptoe through life. You weren't built to live in hesitation and doubt. You are a creative force. You are here to expand. And every time you shrink back, every time you say, I'm not ready, you reinforce a lie. Because the truth is, you've always been ready. You just haven't trusted yourself. And that trust is built through action. You build it by doing the thing you fear. You build it by showing up anyway. That's how confidence is born. When you take action in the face of uncertainty, you're not just moving toward your goal. You're reprogramming your mind. You're training it to follow your vision, not your emotions. You're telling the universe, I'm serious, I'm not just interested, I'm committed. And that kind of energy moves mountains. That kind of energy calls in the resources, the opportunities, the people, because life doesn't respond to hesitation. Life responds to boldness. It responds to faith. So don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for fear to disappear. Decide, move, step forward with power. Because the moment you act, everything begins to change. And if you keep acting with faith, even when it's uncomfortable, that faith will become a fire that nothing can stop. The moment you plant the seed, the result is already on its way. But most people dig it up because they don't see it fast enough. They set a goal, take a few steps, hit a wall, and then start questioning everything. They think, why isn't it working yet? But that's not how growth works. That's not how success happens. You've got to stay committed long after the feeling you started with is gone. You've got to keep going, especially when you don't see results. That's the test. Every dream worth building comes with resistance. That's the law. You set a goal to stretch, to reach beyond your current circumstances. And the second you do, the old patterns, the old beliefs, the old fears will rise up and try to pull you back. That's when most people quit. But that's exactly when you need to push harder. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because that resistance means you're getting close. It means you're stepping into a new version of yourself. And growth never shows up dressed as comfort. You've got to develop the kind of persistence that doesn't depend on circumstances. You can't base your commitment on whether or not things are going your way. You've got to decide that no matter what shows up, you will keep showing up stronger. You will keep holding the vision, doing the work, raising your energy, even when nothing is happening on the surface. Because something is happening. Beneath the surface, everything is moving. You just can't see it yet. The greatest rewards are given to those who don't flinch under pressure, to those who trust the process when doubt is whispering in their ear, to those who stay in alignment even when the outer world says give up. Your ability to hold your vibration in the face of silence, rejection, or setbacks, that's what separates the masters from the masses. That's what builds character. That's what unlocks abundance. You don't become unstoppable by winning every day. You become unstoppable by not stopping on the days you don't win. It's in the dark, quiet, unseen moments that you either reinforce your power or give it away. And the ones who win big are the ones who stay steady. They trust the law. They understand that energy builds momentum and momentum compounds. Keep showing up with faith, and eventually you reach a tipping point. Suddenly the results explode, and people call it overnight success. But you know the truth. It was faith. It was consistency. It was the fire you kept alive when no one else could see it. So when it gets hard, when it gets slow, when your mind starts throwing every excuse in the book, that is when you lean in. That's when you remind yourself, I didn't come this far to turn back. I came to rise. I came to finish. And if I just keep going, the result has to show up. It's already mine. I just need to stay in the game long enough to claim it. If money is energy, and it is, then the secret to attracting it isn't out there, it's inside you. Energy follows attention. What you focus on expands. And yet most people walk around wondering why money avoids them, why success seems so far away. The answer is simple. Their attention is on the wrong thing. They're focused on lack, on problems, on fear. And where focus goes, energy flows. That's why nothing changes. You have the power to shift your financial reality by shifting your focus. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not when the debt is paid. Not when you finally get the raise. Right now. Because the universe doesn't respond to your circumstances, it responds to your vibration. And your vibration is dictated by what you consistently give your attention to. If you're constantly obsessing over what's wrong, you're reinforcing it. If you're emotionally reacting to what you don't want, you're attracting more of it. You must become radically intentional with your focus. You must train your mind like a laser to lock onto what you do want, the abundance, the success, the freedom, and live from that place. Not someday, now. You've got to feel it before you see it. Speak it before you touch it. Move like it's already yours. Because when your attention aligns with the frequency of wealth, you become a match for it. And once you match it, it cannot stay away. This isn't positive thinking. This is physics. This is about taking control of the most powerful tool you own. Your mind. Every time you focus on prosperity, on gratitude, on growth, you're tuning yourself into a higher frequency. And on that frequency, ideas flow, opportunities show up, people notice, money moves. But the minute you slip back into fear, into worry, into lack, you cut yourself off from the flow. The world will try to pull your attention in 1,000 directions. But only one question matters. What am I focused on right now? Not yesterday, not what might happen, right now. Because right now is where your power lives. Right now is where creation happens. You can't afford to let your attention be hijacked by doubt or distraction. You've got to direct it deliberately, consistently, powerfully. And when you do, something incredible happens. Your inner world becomes more real than your outer world. You stop reacting to your environment and you start creating it. You start chasing money and it starts chasing you. Why? Because you've aligned your energy with your intention. You've placed your focus where wealth lives, not in panic, but in possibility. Not in fear, but in faith. You hold the steering wheel. You choose what you give energy to. And when you choose to focus on abundance with unwavering conviction, the entire universe bends in your favor. Because energy responds to clarity. It responds to vision. It responds to you. So if you want a different result, shift your focus and hold it there until your world has no choice but to reflect it. So here's the truth. The life you want, the wealth you dream of, the success you know deep down you're meant for. It's not somewhere out there waiting for the perfect moment. It's already here. It's waiting on you. Not to work harder, not to struggle more, but to step into alignment with who you truly are. You are a powerful, creative, spiritual being. You are energy, and so is money. When you raise your awareness, shift your beliefs, take bold action in the face of fear, and hold your focus on abundance, you become magnetic. You stop chasing results and start attracting them. You don't just wish for change, you command it. Don't wait for the world to change. Don't wait for someone to hand you the opportunity. The shift happens the moment you decide, the second you say, this is my time, this is who I am, and I will not settle for anything less than the life I desire. That's when everything begins to move. So stand up, claim it, own it, live it. The power is already in you, and it's time to use it.